When power is misused, who can protect you? What would you do if you were accused of something you didn't do, just because of the color of your skin? How do you react when the very people meant to protect you become the ones putting you in danger? And what happens when the tables turn and those who think they hold power realize they picked the wrong person to mess with? Before we dive into this shocking story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that open your eyes to the truth. Now, let's begin. A normal night turns into a nightmare. It was late evening in Brooklyn, New York. The streets were alive with the sounds of distant music, car horns, and people enjoying their night. Alicia Carter, a 26-year-old law student, had just finished a study session at a friend's apartment. She was walking to her car, parked a few blocks away, minding her own business. She had no idea that within minutes, her life would be at risk. The unjust stop. As Alicia reached her car, she heard the sound of tires screeching. A police cruiser pulled up beside her. Two officers stepped out, their hands hovering near their weapons. "Stop right there!" one of them barked. Alicia froze, confused. "What's the problem, officer?" she asked, keeping her voice calm. The taller officer, Sergeant Miller, sneered. "We got a call about a suspicious person in the area. You match the description." Alicia frowned. "I was just walking to my car. I haven't done anything wrong." The second officer, Patrolman Reynolds, stepped closer. "Let's see some ID." Alicia reached into her purse slowly, knowing how dangerous this situation could be. But before she could even pull out her wallet, Reynolds grabbed her arm. Escalation. "Hey, there's no need to touch me," Alicia protested, yanking her arm away. Sergeant Miller smirked. "Resisting, huh? That's a bad idea." Alicia's heart pounded. She had seen this story play out before, too many times. "I'm not resisting. I'm complying. But you have no reason to stop me." Reynolds grabbed his radio. "We have a hostile suspect, possibly armed." Alicia's blood ran cold. They were setting her up. She knew she had one chance to turn this situation around. She took a deep breath and pulled out her phone. "I suggest you both stop. Right now," she said, dialing a number, "unless you want to lose your badges." The call that changed everything. The officers exchanged glances, amused. "Who do you think you're calling?" Miller scoffed. "Your little lawyer, friend." Alicia put the phone on speaker. After 2 rings, a deep, authoritative voice answered. "This is Chief Carter." Sergeant Miller's smirk disappeared instantly. Reynolds took a step back. Alicia crossed her arms. "Dad, I need you to come to 4th and Lexington. 2 officers are harassing me for no reason." A beat of silence. Then her father's voice turned ice cold. "Stay where you are. I'm on my way." The moment of realization. Miller's face paled. "Carter? As in Police Chief Marcus Carter?" Alicia tilted her head. "That's right. And you just grabbed his daughter without cause." Reynolds cursed under his breath. They had messed up. Badly. "Look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot," Miller started, his tone suddenly softer. Alicia chuckled bitterly. "Oh, now you want to be polite?" Sakawaravi. Minutes later, a black SUV pulled up. Chief Marcus Carter stepped out, his presence alone commanding the street. More squad cars arrived behind him. This was no longer just a traffic stop. It was an internal investigation. The other officers on the scene stiffened. Everyone knew who Chief Carter was. He walked up to his daughter, looked her in the eyes, and then turned to Miller and Reynolds. "You have exactly 1 minute to explain yourselves," Miller stammered. "Sir, we received a report of a suspicious person." "And that suspicious person was a young woman walking to her car?" Carter cut him off. Neither officer could respond. Carter exhaled slowly, then turned to his officers. "Arrest them." The aftermath. The next day, the story was all over the news. Daughter of police chief, harassed by officers, racist policing exposed. Miller and Reynolds were immediately suspended, pending investigation. Protests erupted, demanding better training and accountability for law enforcement. But for Alicia, this wasn't just about her. It was about every Black person who had been stopped, questioned, or worse, without cause. A fight for change. Alicia sat across from her father in his office. "This can't just end with them getting fired, Dad. We need to do more." Chief Carter nodded. "I agree. That's why we're launching a new initiative. Mandatory body cams, community policing reforms, and an independent board to investigate complaints." Alicia smiled. Good, because no one should have to rely on having a police chief for a father to get justice. Her father reached across the desk, squeezing her hand. "You're going to change the world, kiddo." And Alicia knew he was right, because this was just the beginning. Taking it further. Alicia took her father's words to heart. She started organizing community meetings, bringing together activists, lawyers, and residents to discuss police reform and racial profiling. Her voice became one of the loudest in the fight for justice. The national spotlight. Soon, Alicia was invited to speak on national television, sharing her experience and pushing for real change. Her story inspired similar actions in other cities, forcing departments across the country to reevaluate their policing policies. A new legacy. 1 year later, Alicia stood at a podium delivering a speech at the first national conference on police accountability. She looked out into the crowd and saw her father proudly watching her lead the change they both fought for. Because justice wasn't just about one night, it was about changing the future.